What would you do if you worked harder than anyone you knew, gave everything you had, and still came home with nothing? Would you quit? Would you tell yourself it wasn't meant to be? Or would you wake up the next morning and plant again? This is the story of a farmer named Aaron. He never became famous. He never became rich. But he became something far more valuable. He became unbreakable. Aaron was 34 years old when he took over his family's farm. His father had worked that land for decades, and when he passed, he left Aaron 3 things: 2 acres of tired soil, an old hand plow, and a single piece of advice written on a folded piece of paper. It read, "The land will test you. Don't test it back. Just work." Aaron didn't have money for modern tools. He didn't have connections to big markets. He had only his hands, his back, and a deep belief that if he was faithful to the soil would be faithful to him. His neighbors laughed gently, not unkindly. "Aaron," they said, "the old techniques don't work anymore. You need machines, chemicals, loans." But Aaron smiled, bowed his head, and went back to his land. He planted rice that first season. Row by row, seed by seed, sunrise to sunset. He sang softly while he worked, old songs his mother used to hum. He didn't see the struggle as punishment. He saw it as purpose. The rains did not come that year. Aaron watched the sky every morning. He prayed. He dug small channels to capture whatever moisture he could. He carried water in buckets from a stream half a kilometer away, back and forth, 12 times a day, for 6 weeks. But the drought was stronger than his determination. By harvest season, most of the crop had withered. He sold what little remained for barely enough to cover his seed costs. His neighbors shook their heads. "See, the land is dead. Give up, Aaron. Get a job in the city." That evening, Aaron sat on the edge of his field and looked at the cracked, dry earth. He did not cry. He did not rage. He pulled out his father's note and read it again. "The land will test you. Don't test it back. Just work." He folded it carefully, put it back in his pocket, and went to sleep early. Tomorrow he would begin preparing for the next season. The second year, the rains came, but they came too hard, too fast. Floods swept through the low-lying rows and drowned the seedlings before they could take root. Aaron stood knee-deep in muddy water, watching months of work dissolve around him. This time, doubt spoke to him, not loudly. Doubt never shouts. It whispers. It said, "Maybe they're right. Maybe you're not meant for this. Maybe effort isn't enough." Aaron felt it. He felt it in his knees when he woke up in the morning. He felt it in his empty rice jar at the end of each month. He borrowed a small amount from a cousin to buy food. He took odd jobs repairing fences and hauling firewood. But here is the remarkable thing about Aaron. He never let the doubt become a decision. He treated doubt the way he treated weeds. He acknowledged it was there. He didn't panic about it. He simply kept removing it, one thought at a time, one morning at a time. Doubt is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are doing something that matters. The third year brought pests, a wave of insects that swept through the region, attacking crops across the entire district. Aaron's field was hit like all the others. By October, he had nothing, no harvest, mounting debt, a roof that leaked when it rained. His hands were cracked and rough. His body ached from years of labor that had produced, by all visible measures, nothing. One evening, he sat in his doorway and wrote a letter to himself. Not to complain, not to give up. He wrote down everything he had learned in 3 years of failure. He had learned to read the soil. He had learned how water moves across his land in ways he could now predict. He had learned which corners caught the most sun, which patches needed rest. He had learned patience, not passive waiting, but the active, alert patience of someone who knows that timing is as important as effort. I have not succeeded yet, but I have not wasted a single day. He folded that letter and put it next to his father's note. 2 pieces of paper, one from the past, one from himself. Both said the same thing: keep going. The fourth year, Aaron changed his approach, not his spirit, but his method. He used everything he had observed and learned. He raised his seedbeds slightly to avoid flooding. He planted drought-resistant varieties in the drier sections. He created natural pest barriers using plants the insects didn't like. He didn't do this because someone handed him a manual. He did it because 3 years of failure had made him a student of his own land. He had paid tuition in sweat and tears, and now, quietly, slowly, the land began to respond. That harvest wasn't spectacular. It wasn't enough to make him wealthy, but it was real. It was his. He stood at the edge of his field in the golden afternoon light, holding the first meaningful yield he had ever produced, and he wept, not from sadness, but from the profound relief of knowing that he had been right to believe. Success didn't come. Understanding did. And understanding was better. The following year was better. The year after, better still. Aaron never became the richest farmer in the district, but he became the most respected, because every younger farmer in the region eventually came to ask him one question: how did you survive those early years? And Aaron always gave the same answer. He would smile, reach into his pocket, and show them 2 folded pieces of paper. Aaron's story is not about success. It is about something harder and more honest than success. It is about the quiet, unglamorous decision to show up again, after the drought, after the flood, after the pests, after the debt, after the laughter of neighbors, after the silence of a God who seemed not to answer. It is about understanding that failure is not the opposite of growth. Failure is the soil that growth needs. Every seed Aaron planted, even the ones that never grew, taught him something. Every empty basket made him a better observer. Every sleepless night made his hands more skilled. You may be in your first year of failure right now, or your second, or your third, and the world may be telling you to stop, to give up, to find something easier. But I want to ask you the same question Aaron asked himself every single morning, standing in the doorway of his small house, looking out at a field that had broken his heart again and again. Is there still something worth planting today? If the answer is yes, even a small uncertain yes, then go. Plant, work, observe, learn. Come back tomorrow and do it again. You don't need to succeed today. You just need to not quit today. Because the harvest always comes, not for those who are luckiest, but for those who are still there when it finally does.